Hello, 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 and welcome. My name is Sabrina Victoria. This is her talk show. Thank you so much for being here. I am here with Debra, and we are going to be talking all about claiming your intuitive leadership. I'm super excited about this subject. I've been really curious about this word intuition lately. So I love that she is coming on our podcast today. Listen, ladies, get comfortable. We're going to be exploring some triumphs. We're going to be exploring some challenges faced by women worldwide underneath this topic. We're going to be offering some insights, some inspiration to fuel not only your personal, but also your professional growth. So let's jump in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
So if you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We're here every day delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've interviewed over 600 women, and today we're adding another one to the list. I think we can actually change that to 700 now. I think we're almost, is that crazy?
That's wonderful.
I know.
Crazy. That's wonderful.
I freaking love it. I got to do the numbers. We got to do that. Got to get with my team. So we have Debra here today. I am so excited. So Debra has practiced and taught spiritual development and healing practices for over 25 years using intuitive guidance, spiritual practice, and integrative energy tools. Debra supports women in tapping into their magic so they can heal, transform, and expand. I love that word, expand. Oh, I just feel that. Debra invites women to be her. I love that. We're all about being her. The woman who is active in seeking and building her big life and saying yes to the magic within. Girl, I love this.
Yeah, so do I. Sometimes I feel so lucky that my job is women and magic.
Absolutely.
I'm like, that's a reason to wake up. Hello.
Yes, absolutely. So before we dive into the realm of all the things that I would love to dive into here, I would love to first, for anybody who's just dipping their toe in, they're kind of curious, they're not even really sure what's going on here, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about intuition as a whole. What is it? Why is it important? Wherever you want to take us.
Yeah, well, intuition is, in my world, intuition is my first sense. So you know how people will say, oh, your sixth sense, or I get a gut feeling. So for me, intuition is our first sense, because when we take a breath, that first breath in life, your intuition comes online. So it's there at the first beat of your life. Some people will see the intuition as like that gut knowing or that inner knowing, the inner guidance system. I like to say it's your soul speaking to you. It's your higher I am presence. It's the channel that you have to the part of you that's not earthbound. So your soul part of you. And so your intuition is that channel that you have that is giving you a whole heap of information about yourself as an amazing, beautiful woman, plus everything in and around you. So it is your inner guidance system. It's kind of like an inner GPS for us. And a lot of people will think, that the intuition is like the third eye or it comes down through the crown. It's actually not. Your intuition is embodied. So that's when I say like being her, it's like actually embodying the woman who is in tune with, I have all that I have here earthbound, my whole humanness, my amazing mind, my open heart, my body that can activate things. But you also have this intuitive wisdom that comes through the body, through the heart, and can really be your navigation.
Would this be similar to when people say they had a gut feeling, or is that different?
No, that's exactly it. When people are saying I have a gut feeling, there's a couple of things here which I want to ground into for people because I think it helps. When we say we have a gut feeling, part of that is literally neurons in your gut, right? So you know how we have neurons in our brain that are holding the information and passing the information around? You actually have more neurons in your gut than you do in your mind, in your brain. So our digestive system, our whole gut and digestive system is actually processing information that we receive.
What?
Yeah. That's why I say, like, people will say, oh, intuition is all woo. No, science will show you that your gut is going to give you a whole heap of information. And if you can learn how to listen to it and decipher that information, then you've suddenly got a whole heap more information as navigation for your life. But the other thing with with the gut is our clairs. So a lot of people know clairvoyant.
Yeah.
So clairvoyant is literally clear. The clair part is clear. Voyant is vision, clear seeing. So a clairvoyant can see images. We are all clairvoyant. When you do a guided meditation and you see the forest that the guide is taking you into, that's your clairvoyance. When you're dreaming, that's your clairvoyance, when you see the images. But the most common clair for people is clairsentience, which is clear sensing. And that's when I get the chills, when my gut tells me, when I walk into the room and I can feel that someone's just had an argument here. There's tension. That's clairsentience. So when we're working with our intuition, there's all these different ways that we get the information. That's our clairs. So we have that as a part of like understanding. Like for me, one of my strongest clairs is claircognizance, which is where you just get a whole block of thought in your mind and you just know something. Like that comes a lot in my work. When I'm working with a woman, I'll suddenly just get a block of intuitive knowledge for her, and that comes out through the work. But most people are dominant in clairsentience, which is that clear feeling, and that's why I say your body, it's about your whole body, not just this third eye that you'll see in the beautiful images of the chakras, etc. Your whole body is an intuitive tool.
Wow. This makes sense though, because when I talk about getting a gut feeling, I do sometimes feel my body like clench or vibrate or
Yep. That's literally inside your body. Your body is firing with hormones and responses. Your nervous system is responding. So your body is literally processing that information. And your soul and your spirit, because they're different, your soul and spirit are different. Your soul is the part of you that doesn't come earthbound. The spirit is the part of you, the invisible aura part of you that is earthbound and helping to process all this information. So the spirit and the soul are also charging with what this information is, which is why we do get these like chills or the gut feeling.
Wow, this is so interesting. Okay, so next question that's coming to me right now is, why would somebody who knows this not follow the gut? Why do we ignore it?
Oh, look, I love this question so much because this is where we need to begin.
Yeah, because we'll say like, I had a gut feeling, I knew it, but then like after.
Yeah, and it's because there's a couple of reasons here.
Okay.
It's a layered answer, so I'll try and stay within the layers.
Yeah.
But the layer that is the deepest is, for generations and centuries, women have been taught to not validate their intuition.
Not validate their intuition.
Yeah. And that has been, cultural, religious, society, norms and ways of knowing that have come through generations and generations and centuries of women, that it was literally dangerous to be intuitively alive. Because, let's go there, maybe you were going to be called a witch and burnt at a stake. Whereas actually all you were doing was being the herbalist or the healer at the village. Not, you know what I mean? So that like our intuition over time has
Shoved
become
down.
something it's not only been shoved down, it became something that it was dangerous to express. And the human body, no matter who you are programmed for safety. In every single function of your life, you are programmed for safety. And so when something's not safe, we are going to mitigate it. We're going to try to avoid it. We're going to ignore it because our body is telling us that's not safe. Wow. So over time, we've edged out women's intuitive wisdom through so many ways. And so now we have this narrative of, oh, well, I'm not quite sure. Like, is that my intuition or is that just my fear speaking? That's a question I get asked all the time. And so I teach intuition, and part of that is teaching the anatomy of intuition, because if I can start talking about those neurons in your gut and your clairsentience, women are like, oh, I can get my hands on that. She's talking about science. It's like an access point. Whereas if I go straight to the soul voice, people are like, whoa.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, very religious. And I think that exactly what you're talking about, which I didn't really even put that together until now, is why it's taken me, I'm 42, to finally start looking into what is this intuition thing. And actually what started it was I was telling a story of some sort in one of my masterminds, and I was talking about how 4:00 in the morning I woke up with this great idea and whatever it was talking about. And then somebody called it intuition. And I was like, no, girl, it was more of like a gut feeling. And they're like, you're calling it gut. We're calling it intuition. It's just one and the same.
It's the same.
And when she said that, I was like, oh. And then
Yeah.
what you're saying is, yeah, intuition for me, and I feel like a lot of religious people, is more woo, and woo is bad. It's witchery.
Yeah. And that's what constructed religion, the institution of religion, not the spirituality of religion, the institution and business of religion has done to women over and over and over and over again. So of course we don't trust it. It's in our DNA to not trust it, because trusting it and expressing it is literally dangerous.
Wow. Girl.
Yeah, that's why I say reclaiming being her, reclaiming our intuitive wisdom. Because a part of the work that I need to do is support women in how do I feel safe in not only trusting it, but having it be a part of me and my leadership.
Wow. That's
And
great.
so building safety is step number one.
Wow. So when you're talking about being poised to be a dynamic leader by tapping into their intuitive wisdom, step one is safety?
Well, no, step one is first of all acknowledging that you are an intuitive being. Claim it and say, I am an intuitive being. And maybe the volume's been turned down, or maybe I've ignored it for most of my life. Because as children, we're not. As children, we are intuitive. It's over time that the volume gets turned down, or we're told to ignore it or not trust it. That's why I say it's in that first breath. You know, all of our senses, because the other way that our intuition comes through is our senses, the taste, the touch, the feeling, the smell, the sight. And, you know, when we're young, we're all about our senses. You know, you watch a little baby, they want to roll around, they want to put something in their mouth to taste it, because they're learning to understand the world. And that's also how our intuition works. It's not like, oh my God, I got the most amazing message from my angel guide. You know, like, yes, that happens. Like, literally, that happens to me as an intuitive. You know, but it's not always just that. It's like every day your intuition is there. It's like your magical playmate saying, hey, I've got an idea. Or no, don't go that way. Why don't we turn to the left instead? It's there as this inner guidance system.
Got it. Wow. Well, we have a ton of people watching live. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with Debra and I. If you are watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments, even if it's months or years later. Tell us you're watching it. We'd love to see it. Okay, so I love this. So first, acknowledge that you are an intuitive being.
Yes.
And really acknowledge, like you're saying, why this intuition has been, like, really acknowledging why it's been shoved down by your story, right? Like I just acknowledged my story. Like,
Yeah. I
oh my
think, and
gosh,
that's,
everyone has their own.
everyone has their own, but I also don't encourage getting caught in the story
Okay.
of why you haven't been listening. Sure, that might be a part of the process, but whatever we focus on will, and whatever we feed will grow.
Okay.
Whereas if you're going to focus on the story of all of the times that it didn't work or you weren't listening, well, then great, you're just building evidence in that direction, and that energy is going to grow.
Got it.
What I actually invite people to do is build evidence of the times that you have actually received an intuitive hit and followed it, or received an intuitive knowing and didn't follow it. So I call it building evidence, because again, as a human, we need safety in order to be able to expand. If we don't feel safe, we contract. When we're contracting, we're not receiving. So we want to be in an expansive space. And in order to do that, first we just acknowledge, I'm intuitive. Everyone's intuitive. It's not some amazing magical skill. It's actually a part of being human. I'm intuitive. This is really good for me. I'm going to build some evidence around the intuition that's already present in my life.
Wow.
So let me give you a couple of ways that you can play with building evidence, because I think it can be really fun. Because that's the other thing I invite in my work is, like, creativity and fun and play are expansive. It's hard to contract when you're in creativity, fun, and play. So ways that you can know and build evidence. So we've already gone clairsentience is like, think about the times you've walked into a room and you've just felt it. You met someone and you could feel excited. It's like, oh, this person, I resonate with them.
Yeah.
Or like when I saw my now husband, I knew upon seeing him, I could feel it. And over the 3 days when we were like just getting to know each other, you know, before the first kiss, I could feel it in my body expanding. You know, so we all have, so go with, like, what's my body been telling me, my clairsentience. The other one is clairaudience, which is clear listening, like when you can hear. And the way clairaudience can turn up for people is you're suddenly thinking about a song. Like, you maybe haven't heard this song in years. I'll give you a story. So this happened months and months ago, but it was this year, but earlier in the year. And I was working on developing some new edges within my business, and which meant new edges within me as the woman who is, you know, the founder of my business.
Mm-hmm.
So as my business expands, so do I. And I was working on really stepping into my power. I was like, I know there's some ways I've been playing small, and I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up one morning and one of the songs from the movie Shrek was playing in my mind. And I haven't watched that movie in years, but I was like, it's playing, like this song, it was like, it felt like the radio was on. My mind was just playing the song. And in particular, one line, which is, only shooting stars break the mold. So it's the Smash Mouth All Stars song in Shrek. Some people watching now will start singing it in your mind. I know you will, if you know the song. Only shooting stars break the mold. Only shooting stars break the mold. It just kept playing and playing and playing. And because I know that's clairaudience, that's my intuition giving me a message. And that morning, my business coach is based in the UK. I'm based in the Caribbean. So her afternoon is my morning. I have like 7 a.m. calls with my business coach. So I'm up at 5:30 listening to the birds sing as the sun's coming up, journaling, only shooting stars break the mold. Like, I didn't get it at first, but I kind of just stayed with it. And then it kind of came through as like, oh, I need to allow myself to be the shooting star, to actually get brighter, because the mold that I want to break is around women's intuitive leadership, women's leadership. And so it all just kind of like, it was this breakthrough moment for me of, I actually need to risk saying the things that people aren't saying, because I want to break this mold of women's leadership being women dressing up like men and fitting in that box in order to be leaders. Because I'm like, no, that's not it. That's actually not honoring what we bring to leadership.
Wow.
And I just couldn't quite get there. So this is one way that clairaudience can play with you. Like, you'll suddenly start hearing a song, or another way, claircognizance is, you might think about somebody and then within the day that person sends you a text message, or you hear within the coming days that something big has happened to that person. So there's all these ways that we can build evidence, because then it helps. So you acknowledge you're intuitive, you start to build evidence, and then from there you get more curious about how that intuition is turning up for you. And to support the women who I work with, I've actually created a 5-day audio activation called a tune. And so for every day for 5 days, you have me in your ear for about 15 minutes. It's like a little private podcast. And over the 5 days, I help you to identify, make sure you're on the right channel, then turn up the volume. We work through the whole trusting it part, which is one of the obstacles, so that within the 5 days, I'm guiding you and building that scaffolding for you.
Wow.
So you can actually understand the anatomy of your intuition, how it works, and how you can make it work for you. So I can share a link with you, Sabrina, to that 5-day activation, because I want every woman in the world to acknowledge I'm intuitive. That's my superpower that was taken away from me generations ago. And I'm claiming it back because it's mine.
I love that. Is it a fairly easy URL, or is it kind of like complicated?
It's fairly easy. I'll need to get the link to you, because a part of something that's exciting that's literally happening for me now is breaking the mold. I've done a whole rebrand. So my new website is being launched literally in 6 days. So I'll need to actually check with my tech team if the URL is the same.
That's
so
great.
I promise I will share it with you, and it can be shared with everyone. But biglifemagic.com right now, if anyone wants it right now, you can go to the website and opt in immediately. But I will check, because I am literally in, my shooting star is just about to break the mold in 6 days.
Yeah. Wow, that is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
girl.
you.
So specifically to women leaders, what is the first step? We have first acknowledging that I am an intuitive being.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
Well, that is for all women. And when I'm speaking about women's leadership, I'm saying, women, we lead our lives. We are the leaders in our families,
Yeah,
in communities, in schools, in organizations. So I'm not, this isn't for the woman who's like, oh, I'm climbing the ladder, or I'm breaking into the C-suite, or I've hit the 6 or 7 figures. I'm saying, no, this is all women.
I love that. Yeah, that's why I use leadership too, is it's not just corporate or just entrepreneurship. It's in your life. You need to
It's
lead.
in your life. Yeah, you are the leader. You are the leading energy of your life. And so for me, a woman who is in her leadership, embodied in her leadership, is aligned with her intelligence and her intuition, and leads from an alchemized heart. For me, that's the trifecta: the intellect and the intuition and the alchemized heart. That for me is the magic trifecta of women's leadership. And intellect is the acknowledgement that women are whip smart. We're sassy smart. We can strategize. Like, you look at what women have been multitasking and managing
Absolutely.
for forever,
Yeah.
you know, and so that, like, really bringing that intuition in with the intellect. Because the other thing that I think happens for women, and this is another narrative that has just been reinforced, is that, you know, like, women are emotional. It's like, yeah, and that's also a superpower, because a part of our emotional integrity is our fact that we're empathetic.
Yeah.
We're gonna hold and nurture all. Plus, also our emotions and our instincts are connected to our intuition. So emotion is not bad, but
Yeah,
we're not,
I think
you
about
know,
that sometimes. It's like, dude, if we all just walked around just cold and like robots, that wouldn't even be fun.
no, not
Yeah,
at
it'd be so
all.
shitty.
Not at all. And it again, it's not the human experience, because the human, first of all, strives to survive. And then the next thing the human wants to do is to connect and bond.
Yeah.
And that's emotion.
Yeah.
Like, we feel the world,
Yeah. Absolutely. I
you know,
agree.
we feel the world. And also, women are really smart. We create solutions to conflict in a completely different way.
Absolutely, we do.
We also are able to organize strategies that aren't necessarily the totem pole hierarchy. It's more expansive. You know, there's just natural ways that the feminine energy creates, which is so much a part of what the world needs now.
Yeah.
And the alchemized heart is, your heart was designed to break. It's by design that your heart will break. Our hearts break so our souls can bounce. It's, again, the expansion. And your heart breaks, so you put this focus on your heart. So you put this focus on being a fully feeling human being. And as you put that heart back together again, you are, in turn, when you're doing this heart repair, you are strengthening your energetic heart. So when we get on the other side of a big life loss, that's where we're in our expansive big life magic, because we've alchemized this heart energy. And anytime you alchemize the heart, it builds in capacity and compassion. And so this is, all women have the ability to do this. Be whip smart, highly intuitive, and take that alchemized heart out into the world and say, I'm going to get busy being the leader that I know I am, and making the changes that we can feel as women the world not only needs, is ready for.
Yeah. Definitely. Um this is kind of going on a little bit off the rail here, but it's just kind of like coming to me a little bit here. You said your heart breaks so your soul can bounce. Do we intuitively know that? And the reason I'm asking is because you hear this a lot, like, I'm cold now because my heart's been broken so many times. I don't trust now because my heart's been broken so many times. Do we know that intuitively that it's actually a good thing? And then if so, why are there so many bitter people walking around?
Wow, that is such a beautiful question. And it's the core of 10 years of my thought leadership.
Yeah.
So for 10 years, and I now, because I've been in my own revolution and rebranding, but it still will always be at the heart of what I do. The core of my work is in grief transformation. So more than 11 years ago, unexpectedly, my beautiful son, Sage Joseph, died 1 month before his 11th birthday.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And so I went from being a single mother to a grieving mother. And with everything I know about healing practices and our spiritual path, I chose curiosity. I was like, why is this happening? Why is the heart breaking? Why did my son have to go? Why am I still here? I had so many questions. And I took them on a journey, which I call the Big Life Loss to Big Life Magic journey. And you're in the Big Life Loss for a while, you know? And this is like I'll get to the punchline here so that people can understand where we're going. When I say our hearts break on purpose so our souls can bounce, when we come earthbound, we are here to live out a soul contract. We're here for a purpose. When people are saying, I'm looking for my life purpose, this is what it is. It's like why you're here. And we're here for more than one purpose. It's not like we have like one North Star and that's it, life done. There's various purposes, right, that our soul is seeking to experience for this expansion. And part of what we decide is what is going to break our heart. And I say there's 4 Ds of big life loss: death, divorce, a diagnosis, or a dream that doesn't come true.
Wow.
And if you are living a full life with a beating heart, you are going to meet at least one of those Ds. Most women I work with have met more than one.
Yeah.
And what happens is that breaks us open.
Yeah.
Then we work on this repair. And when we consciously, intentionally work on this repair, we do strengthen the capacity and the compassion and our sense of knowing ourselves. But those people who have the trust is broken, I can't love anymore, etc., they're the people who have chosen to not heart repair.
Yeah.
The broken fibers have not actually been consciously put back together again. And I understand it. It's a part of being human too, of like sometimes it hurts so much.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's happened again.
Yeah.
Like my son's death is not the first death that's come knocking at my door, you know, like I completely get it. And there's some women I've worked with and the cancer diagnosis has come more than once.
Yeah.
Or the divorce has been so devastating, you know, or the dream of I wanted to be a mother and my body is not supporting me in this. There's so much loss.
Yeah.
And we get to choose, as the earthbound being, we get to choose how we respond to that. And so the alchemized heart is the woman who has said, yes, that has happened. And that's a part of my story, but that's not where my story ends.
Wow. I remember when I first started to realize that because I was in victimhood for a really long time, like an obnoxious amount of time. I was in victimhood for too long. And I remember when I first acknowledged that, like, if I wanted to become this vision of like who I ultimately wanted to become, I would have to drop the victim story.
Yeah.
And I remember this cognitive dissonance of like, fuck that, because this is my identity.
Yeah.
And then also totally acknowledging that I could not get to that vision of what I wanted if I kept on this storyline of like, woe is me, sad, bitterness, cold, you know, what we're kind of talking about. And yeah, really needed to consciously realize that like all the shit that's happened to me, which there's still more shit that's happening.
Yeah.
Is that I can use it for good versus use it for woe is me.
Absolutely. And this is the human experience.
Yeah.
We break so that we can put ourselves back together and expand.
Yeah.
That is the human. Like I used to never get it. Like when a Buddhist monk would say, you know, life is suffering. And I'd be like, I don't know, is that the point? But this is also before my son had passed away and before I was,
Totally.
you know, and Buddhism was one of the things that I actually found great solace and scaffolding in, because I was doing a peace building project in Sri Lanka at the time. And so I spent a lot of time in Sri Lanka, and I literally spent a lot of time with Buddhist monks working through aspects of heart repair.
Wow.
And so I understood so much more about these, you know, throwaway cliche lines, or these lines that, you know, life is suffering. I'm like, I don't even get that. It sounds negative. I don't know if I want to buy that.
Yeah.
But it is actually, when you start to look into what they're actually saying, it's wisdom.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me, I saw this quote. It was talking about business, and it said, like, business growth is stressful. Business depletion or whatever is stressful. Business stagnation is stressful. Therefore, business is stressful. And it kind of reminds me of life. It's like when life is going up, it's like there's stuff to worry about. When stuff is going down, there's stuff to worry about. When it's just kind of like complacent, then we feel like we should be doing more. It's like this, it's just,
it's also a part of, like, it is a part of what we want, because we want to be in the dynamic play and expansion.
Yeah.
Like we do. And we get a choice around how we interact and respond. We really do. And this is like coming back to the intuition. But the intuition can give you the navigation and the clues around where to go or how to mitigate an obstacle. Whereas we spend so much of our life in our head, in our thinking mind. And our brain is designed to focus our energy and to be the machine that processes information. It was never designed to be the master. It is supposed to be the servant. And we have created the mind as the master, whereas really the master is our heart.
Wow. The alchemized heart.
The alchemized heart. And you can still lead, you can still be an amazing leader with a broken heart. Like my heart was completely different before my son's death.
Mm-hmm.
I was still loving, I was still playful, creative, all the things that I am, but my heart has exponentially more capacity now.
Wow.
My compassion is completely different and deeper.
Wow.
And I see this with so many women I've worked with in helping them to alchemize through heart repair. Because, like, as you were saying, there are some people who have chosen to stay connected to the part that broke. And I don't say that those people are wrong. Your soul is just learning something different.
Mm.
There's no wrong path. It's all choices. And we have our intuitive path and we have our soul path. And you've also got divine free will. You get to decide at the end of the day. The universe doesn't decide. You do.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key point that people don't necessarily recognize. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the most important part of it.
Yeah. It's like how you turn up is how the game's going to be played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting how much control we have. And then at the same time, how much control people don't recognize they have.
Yeah. Because we put the focus of control on the places where we actually don't have control.
Yeah.
Instead of the places that we do.
Yeah.
It's like a feeling, like sometimes I'm just like, oh, humans, aren't we wonderful and exquisite?
Oh,
I do that to myself because I may know all the theory of this and I work with it, but there's some days where I've gone into sabotage of self.
Yeah.
I have to unwind, and I'm just like, we just have to, let's keep the play, let's keep the humor.
Yeah.
Being a full human is hard enough. We don't have to add anymore.
Yeah. 100%. Well, this has been great. I took a ton of notes. I thank you so much for being here, hanging out with us. I feel like we could just keep talking for like another hour. There's so much more to dive into.
It is. Well, and this is the conversation that I'm committed to having in into 2025 and beyond, is continuing to talk to women about their full-bodied leadership. So that we can all claim it now. Because the other thing is I don't think we're waiting for women's leadership. We need to claim it now. Claim it in all ways that we can. So we're not working towards it. We're not waiting for it. Because if you send out a message to the universe saying, well, I'm waiting for my turn, the universe will go, excellent, I'll give you some more waiting then.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
So it's like, no, claim it now. Because the energy that you put out is what you get back. So if you're saying I'm waiting for my turn, or I'm waiting for the world to accept women's leadership, or we're all working towards it, that's what we're getting back.
Yeah.
So I'm all about women saying, that's me today. And sure, today I'm still figuring it out, but I'm claiming it today. And we'll bring that energy earthbound.
I love that. Absolutely. We have a ton of people watching live. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for pretty much our full podcast here. Debra, I would love to know, and so would our listeners, who should be reaching out to you? Who do you help?
Yeah, great question. I work with women who are curious about their spiritual practice or their intuition. And there's two distinct ways that I work with women. One is I have an engaged global community called the Big Life Magic Makers. It's women who want to connect with other women and explore this spiritual practice and be together in Zoom rooms and on our online platform. So that's the Big Life Magic Makers. Again, you can go to biglifemagic.com and you'll see the membership community there, and you can find out more information. It's an amazingly beautiful, diverse community. So everyone is welcome. And if you're curious about that community, you can send me a message on any platform, Big Life Magic, and ask for a guest pass to an event so that you can, like an example, this Thursday night, Sonia, who is an amazing member of our community, is holding the group in a full moon circle. So this is one of the things that we do, but there's many dynamic things that happen in the membership. But the other way that I work with women is I work with women who are developing their leadership and want to develop their intuition and bring that alchemized heart into their leadership. And it's called elite energetic alignment. That's when I work one-on-one with a woman. That's the more deep dive. So if there's a woman listening with just like, I am that leader, I know I am, and I'm taking her into 2025 or whatever year you're listening, that would be the way to connect with me around elite energetic alignment.
Beautiful. I love that. And then for those that want to know more information or want to follow you, where can people find you online?
Yeah, so everything is Big Life Magic. So that's the Instagram, the Facebook, the website, or LinkedIn. It's my name, Debra Driscoll.
Beautiful.
But essentially, biglifemagic.com. And if you go to biglifemagic.com today, you're going to see the last days of that website because next Tuesday, we're launching the new website, but it'll still be the same URL, biglifemagic.com.
Awesome. I'm looking you up on Instagram right now. Big Life Magic, Deb D Elite Energy Guide.
That's me.
I love that. Awesome. Well, this has been absolutely great. For those of you listening live or on the replay, if you're resonating with Debra and all the goodness that she's sharing today, make sure you check out her website, biglifemagic.com. She predominantly hangs out on Facebook and Insta under Big Life Magic. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
I just invite women to be her. Be the woman who is reclaiming your intuitive wisdom and your leadership. And then once you've claimed it, get busy doing something about it.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, this has been great. I so appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, and sharing all of your knowledge, all of your inspiration with us. This has been great. To our dedicated listeners, make sure that you follow, like, and share this video so others can hear it. This was an amazing episode. We want to get this out there for sure. Once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria, and I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation Global. We will continue to have uplifting conversations just like this one to help you out, not only personally, but also professionally. Until next